So I'm going to say, give me a clever uh, opening question for my podcast. It's going to give me something really generic, but it'll be fun. Let's see. If I told you your favorite game, book, or app was going to vanish forever tomorrow, what would you do tonight?
Hmm.
That's a pretty good, yeah.
So, what was it? Game, book, or app? Is that what it was?
Yep, game, book, or app. It doesn't include movie. I don't think we should expand on it. So we can say
Oh yeah.
game,
Okay. Yeah.
book, or app. I don't even have an answer for app. I don't know what my favorite app would be or what app I just
Yeah.
couldn't live
I
without.
don't know.
I was just talking about how much I use ChatGPT, but the truth is, if it didn't exist, my life would be the same. I
You go
only
back to 3 years ago.
right, exactly. It's just an advantage that it's an ability I take advantage of, but it doesn't really like run things in my life. Um,
Exactly.
there's a few apps that I wish would disappear. Facebook cannot exist.
Oh
I
yeah. I don't even
have
have that installed on my phone.
have you ever tried to leave Facebook? That's a whole see, this sprung into a new
I
conversation, but I tried to get rid of my Facebook and it's like impossible. It keeps coming back. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've
So
experienced this,
this is
but
this is the thing. I never really got rid of my Facebook, but I haven't logged into it. Well, I shouldn't say that. I logged into it like once, like 2 years ago. But
yeah.
like to actually be on it and actually interact with Facebook, it's probably been at least 10 years, probably.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't use it at all.
I'm kind of in the same way. Like I never log into it. I don't use it at all. I thought I had gotten rid of it. I actually like Googled, how to like completely delete your Facebook, completely get off Facebook. I followed the steps. I searched for my name on Facebook, for my
Yep.
wife's Facebook, and I couldn't find it. It seemed to be gone. And then a few
Yep.
months later, it was back again. Like I don't,
Yep.
I can't get rid of it. I
So
just at this point, I'm just like,
suppose
I guess I'm stuck.
supposedly, like, Facebook will create you an account, like, by itself for just, like, going on a site that has, like, an
That's
ad that has something to do with Facebook
that's
or
exactly
something to that effect. It's weird. It's like this crazy I don't know if it's actually real or if it's just a theory someone came up with or what, but I've heard that in the past.
no. So what happened to me was I needed to use something that only used Facebook as a login.
Ah,
And so
that definitely, would do
and
it.
I already had an existing account. So I think it was
Yep,
Spotify or something like that, where it was like you could sign up through Facebook or you could sign up on your own. But because I
right.
had signed up through Facebook, then I had to use that account. And I tried to just sign in to Spotify. I believe
Mhm.
it was Spotify, but it may have been something else. I tried to just log into Spotify and still not activate my Facebook account, but it was like in doing so that
Yep,
reactivated my Facebook account. So even
yep.
unbeknownst to me, even though I'm not going to Facebook, it still reactivated my account. Which, if you ask
Yeah,
me, is a little. It's just a little Windowsy, if you know what I mean. It's a little scammy, if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah, definitely, like, I think
Like,
so at this point, I think they're well, I don't know about yet, but definitely coming up, they're gonna be hemorrhaging users, like, hard.
yeah.
So they're gonna try to make accounts that for everybody because they just want the number of users to be there, like, for the
I mean,
shareholders or whatever you wanna call it.
how many people at this point have Facebook accounts that like never ever use them? I mean,
Probably a lot.
yeah, it is a ton. Yeah, it
And
is.
anyone under 25 right now never even, like, touched Facebook, like, actually went to Facebook and signed up. I can tell you, probably.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's all people. I remember MySpace. I don't know if were you old enough to do this
Oh,
MySpace
yeah.
thing?
Oh,
Okay.
freaking I had a MySpace. I customized it and did the HTML and all that, CSS.
Yeah, in a way, no, I can't say that. I was gonna say, in a way, MySpace and like customizing my MySpace was like my first foray into any kind of like coding or development. Was because
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to play music. 'Cause it was like a period where they were like, you can't play music anymore on MySpace or whatever,
Yep.
and it was like, oh,
Yeah,
but
you're on when you get to your account, like, you wouldn't the
yeah,
music wouldn't play. Yeah, I know what you mean.
it was like, well, we could fix
Oh, man.
that.
Dude, like, when MySpace was a thing, like, I was like, "This thing's crazy, like, this isn't gonna last and whatever." And, of course, that one didn't, but Facebook came around, and I'm like, "Man, I wish MySpace was was
Well,
still here."
yeah, no. In a way, I really miss MySpace. Just the sheer like Wild West of it all.
Yeah, I
You like
know, I
you
know.
go to 100 MySpaces and they all look the same, and then you come across the one that's covered in sparkles and like everything.
Yep. Yeah.
And and they would like come out with updates that would try to like force you back into submission again, but then
Oh,
people would
yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
they'd
The
figure
the
out a
themes
way.
would, like, come back to the normal theme for your page. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That wasn't my first, but that truthfully, that wasn't my first foray into any kind of coding or anything. I was really into the like Angel Fire, Homestead, anime websites whenever I was really young. I don't know how old I was,
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, I was making Dragon Ball Z websites and stuff like that. That was the
Nice.
early days of the internet. At least in my mind, those were the early days. But anyway, so we'll move on to another topic. So I did a really cool thing this week. I got to do a capture the flag event, which I've always heard about, and
Yep.
I've always been nervous to do one. Have you ever done one?
No, I've never done one, and I would feel nervous too because I'd be like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
these guys are gonna totally, like, be done with it before I'm even close to figuring it out."
that's the way it was. That's the way it was. And we have a new manager at my job who's he comes from he's a cool manager. You always like whenever you're in IT and you have a manager that also comes from IT, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's so much better.
That's the
Yeah,
best
I
than like
totally
a
agree.
manager that like didn't come from IT and they're just good at managing people.
Yeah.
And our new manager who came from IT, I haven't told him about the podcast, but because I'm cheesing him up, I should tell him to listen to this episode. But like he was done before we got the instructions for the first challenge. He had already gotten to the last challenge.
Wow.
And he posted like a screenshot of it in the chat. He was like, "Good luck, guys." And we were like, "What?" Like, "Oh my god!" Like, but yeah, this was the same kind of thing. I've always been like, this is not the first one that the company I work for has hosted, and
Right.
I've always been interested in. Oh, that would be good for me to do, but I don't really know what to expect, having never done
Yeah.
one before. And my job is not like one in security or anything, so like
Right.
I don't know I don't know how like familiar I need to be with cybersecurity in order to do a capture the flag. And in reality, it's not really the same skill set at all. It's really like if you're good at you could be good at capture the flag events, and
Mhm.
that skill set is only used for that really. Like it's a lot of like decrypting things, a lot of like trying to solve
Yeah.
riddles and like taking a weird string and putting it in a decoder of something like there's it's not really like a cybersecurity skill set. It's more of like an encryption, decryption, cryptid
Right.
kind of skill set. And this one was presented as like just show up and we'll help you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it kind of took the edge off, and so I just showed up, and sure enough, they helped. It worked out. It was exactly what
Nice.
they
That's
promised it
awesome.
would be. Um, and it was interesting because I've noticed that the company I work for has recently taken like a no hand holding approach to these types of trainings and things. Like we did a Kubernetes training last year, and it was kind of the
Okay.
same thing where it was like we're just going to give you the tools and give you the tasks, and then you raise your hand when you have a question. We're not guiding you through this, you know.
Right.
And I and
Okay.
I kind of like that approach because they're available to help everyone in the room that are all at various skill levels,
Right.
but at the same time, they're not forcing. Like if you feel like you have a lot of skill in capture the flag or whatever the
Right.
subject is, they're not making you suffer through the like everything, and vice versa. If you have no experience, they're willing to give you the personalized time to help you through the first steps. So it was a great event, and I have some of the challenges that I went through outlined here, and I want to tell
Oh,
you
okay,
about a
cool.
few of them. So one of them was a we had the very beginning we had like a login screen, and whenever
Mhm.
you logged in, it gave you the instructions to the challenge and how to do the challenge. Each challenge, the flag was like some crazy string, and
Right.
you'd have to append the string with .html, and as long as you added that to your address bar for the main website of the challenge,
Yep.
then it would take you to the next flag. And so
The
that's the way
next
you got all the way
Okay.
through to the end, was you had to keep finding these encrypted strings and then just follow that link.
Right.
Well, the instruction page at the end of it, and I imagine, if I've never done another capture the flag event, but I imagine if you do a lot of these, it's probably pretty commonplace that the first page that you're reading in reality is your first puzzle, because at the end of it, it says, "Hey, this is the first test." And so on the
Hmm.
surface of the website, it's just instructions. There's nothing special there.
Right.
But if you use the either the Firefox feature or the Chrome feature to
Yeah.
actually look at the source of the page,
Inspect it. Yeah.
then
Yep.
right in the very first puzzle, which was the easiest one by far, if you just looked at the source of the page, you could in the inspector you could see the first key that you needed to turn
Yep.
into a URL. And then from there, it got more and more challenging as it went on. Um,
Yeah.
there
Gotcha.
was uh, there was base 64 challenges where
Oh, okay.
you'd go to a website. I remember one of them had a login screen, and whenever you logged in, so if you checked the website before you logged in,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be any challenge there. But then
Oh,
if you tried
okay.
to log in, you don't know the username and password. And so you're trying to find the username and password. Well, inspecting the page would give you a clue that you could decrypt that would give you what looked like a password. And then whenever you tried that in the login screen, it would take you to like a login failure page, which if you checked that screen in behind
Hmm.
it would be the real flag that you would have to find and then put in
Oh my
your
god.
your address bar. So it was like a lot of elaborate like layers on
Yeah.
layers of solving these challenges. But I think the coolest one was like a street photo. We actually had to figure out where in the world this photo was taken and then find that location on Street View and then look for the clue
Hmm.
in the photo that would lead you to the next clue. Lots of
Right.
really cool stuff and a lot of like cool deciphering tools that I had never heard
Yeah, I
of.
was gonna ask you, did you get any specific tools to use on with this challenge?
Yeah, a big one is CyberChef. We use CyberChef for a
Okay.
lot a lot of the decrypting. So the way CyberChef works is it can do like recipe decrypting. So like if you take something and then you encrypt it into base 64 and then you take that
Yep.
and you encrypt it into Braille. I don't even know if that's possible, but we did have one challenge with base 64 and one challenge with Braille. But like it can do
Wow.
recipes like that. So you can say, I have this crazy string and I want to decrypt it. And then the
Mm.
outcome of that decrypt it again with this other, using this other language. And then eventually it would get you
Oh, okay.
to the point you had something readable.
So there's
Um,
multiple layers of things you had to go through to get to the
yeah.
actual word or whatever.
And a lot of it too, like they encouraged us to use ChatGPT.
Hmm.
And a lot of it, I could give ChatGPT the HTML code in the inspector, and ChatGPT could like suggest what I should do. I told ChatGPT not to give me all the answers, but to help me walk through it. And
Oh, okay.
it could give me really good suggestions. There was a Braille one, and the Braille one was interesting because there's like different forms of Braille. So they decrypting it on one website would give you one answer, decrypting it on another would give you a different. And so
Mm.
in my case, I just tried both. Some people were smart enough to know which one they were supposed to use, but I just tried every version I could get until something worked.
That
There
would be me
was
too.
there was steganography. I don't know what
Yeah,
website.
that's cool. I always was interested in that. That's like
Yeah,
creepy to me. It's just like, yeah, this is
it's
an everyday picture, but yeah, it could hold all of your passwords you've ever used in your entire life or something, and no one would ever
so
know unless they actually use the program to decrypt it.
the last one we did, which was the hardest one. It was a steganography challenge, and it was a picture of a Rubik's cube. And when you ran the Rubik's cube through a steganography like program that would like
Decrypt
check
it,
it
whatever.
for,
Yeah.
so it takes it takes the RGB of the image and separates it so that you have an image of red and an image of green and an image of
Okay.
blue. And then within one of the colors, I think it was the red, it spelled the word flag. And so you're like, oh, I'm on to something. It must
Yeah.
be I got to put the colors together and figure out how it spells something out. Well, that was like a red herring. That was just so that you would spend your time doing that. In
Ah.
reality, I thought I had heard of this as being a thing because I remember, I've just listened to podcasts like Darknet Diaries and things where they've
Yep.
talked about
Okay.
some of these challenges and stuff. So I had a little bit of expectation. But like, I looked at the size of the image because I had heard on some of these podcasts that there are
Right.
ways to encrypt files within images, like a zip file,
Yep.
and the image was
And
not
the file,
unusually
like,
large.
exploded.
Yeah, so like I thought, well, if it's like a 2 gig image of a Rubik's cube, then like obviously there's something there. But it was a normal size image. It was a pretty small image. And so I thought, oh, that must not be the case. So then I started looking into the steganography thing with the colors. And then ChatGPT suggested that I run it through a different program. And this other program that I ran it through, it found that there were file names attached to this image, and it
Ah,
could actually, within the website, I didn't even have to find a way to decrypt the image, decrypt the file.
yeah.
On this website, it showed you the contents, and the contents was just a small text file, and it could
Hmm.
actually read and give me the contents of the text file on this tool,
Yeah.
and that was the final flag, was within this text file, within this image, which on top, layered on top of that, had this steganography challenge that was a totally
Yeah.
bogus, like just red herring to make you chase this
Yeah.
down.
I think that that's part of it.
Yeah, but the other one that was cool was the street photo.
Yeah.
So of course you had to look at the metadata of the photo to
Yep.
try to find out when and where it was taken.
Yep.
And there was a puzzle in the photo that said, I can't remember the riddle, but there was a riddle in the photo that said, essentially, look for the city, look for the month, and look for the day, and then use that to find the
Hmm.
next flag. Well,
Right.
the metadata wasn't that specific, but the metadata did give you the month and the day,
Okay.
and it gave you coordinates, and then you could use the coordinates to find on Google Earth where that location was.
Hmm.
And then you could actually go to that location and find the spot that the picture was taken. Um,
Right.
and then that helped you determine which city that it was in. And it was like in somewhere in Italy. And yeah, it was really cool. I felt like a true
Wow.
detective for a day. It was really cool.
That sounds
And
really fun though.
it was really cool. And it's like
Kinda
they're like
what?
preparing for like a competition. So like the company I work for is trying to enter some competition. I think they are either it's a worldwide company, and so I think they're just like regionally, like it's going to be like US versus
Okay.
Europe versus
Right.
Asia, and they need 30 people to be part of this competition. And I had never done this before, but I had so much fun doing it. I was like, if I get accepted to be a part of the team, man, I'll print T-shirts. Like I will go home and I'll do tests. I'll find the subreddit for like steganography, and I'll do all kinds of self testing and practice and everything. It was a lot of fun. I definitely want to do more, and it was, the one I went to was meant for beginners, so I'm sure it's less intimidating than some of the more complex ones. But also, I think that there is like a bias of intimidation. I think that a lot of people out there want to try one of these, but like they're just intimidated to start because, like you and I were
Oh
just
yeah.
saying, it feels like it's going to be overwhelming, and it's really not.
Yep.
It's really not that bad. It's a skill set that like you have because you do this. So don't be intimidated by it because everybody walked into it at the same base. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking for more opportunities to do more. So
Yeah, that'd be
I'll
cool. I know they have like online ones you can do all the time, like
yeah,
they schedule events and all that stuff that you can do and sign up
yeah.
for.
There's the like famous cicada one, cicada
Oh
eight,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
1801 or whatever it was, cicada something 33301
Something
or
like
something.
that. Yeah. I heard people talk about that.
Yeah, it was like this worldwide capture the flag kind of thing. Everybody was trying to solve this mystery that all started with, it was like embedded in a photo of a cicada.
Yes. Yes,
There's
that's
lots of
right. That's right. Did they ever figure it out? I don't even
there's
know.
I think it's been done multiple times, and I think it's been solved a few times, but there's also some
Okay.
mysterious examples of it too. There's a wiki page for it. I don't want to I don't want to say confirm that it's ever been solved. But I think it's been done multiple times, and I think there was
Yeah,
cases where
I
people
couldn't
solved it.
remember. I know there was one that when I first started looking at it, it wasn't ever solved, but then years later they solved it or something. It might not have been that one.
I was going to ask ChatGPT real quick. What was the cicada? I can't remember if it was 3301. See if it knows.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. Oh, did I guess it right? I might have guessed it right. So it says Cicada 3301 was a series of alternate reality games. ARG. Recruitment puzzles that appeared annually starting in 2012. The puzzles were posted on a platform like 4chan, Twitter, or Reddit, and invited intelligent individuals to solve them. Each puzzle involved cryptography, steganography, data security, classical literature, obscure philosophical references, image analysis, and geolocation. The challenge often
Oh,
had multiple layers and required collaboration from people around the world.
yep.
I was just trying to look
Didn't at the end
through.
it like give it gave you like a number to call or something, and like you would get a job, or they would offer you like a job or something, like because
I
you were
know.
good enough to figure it out. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but
No, I think that was like the urban legend around it was that like
oh,
the
maybe that
reason.
was it. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like
I watched a
recruitment
lot of
for the
conspiracy theory
CIA.
stuff, so it could be.
Yeah, they have a whole section here on theories about its purpose. So it was recruitment for a government agency. Many speculated it was a NSA, CIA, MI6 recruiting top minds.
That's
It
what I
was
heard. That's what I heard.
it was an anonymous hacker collective. Some believe it was an elite hacking group looking for new members. A
Oh, that's
social
interesting.
experiment. Others see it as a long form artistic or psychological project. I think that's what it was. I think it was like a project
Yeah,
by some
yeah.
extremely intelligent artist. A book club or cult. A few puzzles
Ooh.
had a few puzzles had themes relating to Maynard James Keenan, William Blake, and no stoicism, suggesting philosophical leaning. Huh? I don't know who any of those people are. I'm not big on philosophy.
Yeah, I know nothing about them.
Well, anyway, yeah, there's a lot of interesting YouTube videos and podcasts on the Cicada 3301 thing. So even if you're not interested in this, that's a really cool story to go listen to.
Yeah,
All right. Home labs. I am
yeah.
in dire need of a home lab again. I lost my Proxmox PC. My son, it's beside me now. It's set up with a mouse, keyboard, and everything because it's turned back into a gaming PC. It was a gaming PC that I turned into a server. Now it's a gaming PC again because my son's old enough that he's playing Minecraft and
Gaming PC has reclaimed it.
yeah, and he's able to do it on his own now too. My son was like interested in games because he watched people play him on YouTube,
Yeah,
but
right.
he couldn't really do it on his own yet. He would get frustrated, and I basically was just help like playing with him basically.
Yeah,
And now he's able to do everything, even like work the menus and stuff. Like you know, when you're like a
nice.
little bitty kid, they get to a point where they can control the character and play the game, but they don't
Yep.
understand the menu system and all that. Man, he
Yes.
gets on there. I'm worried he's spending money. I'm worried he's like buying or he's
Oh,
like
no.
buying expansions and stuff that I'm not aware because he's just logged into my account.
Don't get into
So
Roblox. Don't get into Roblox.
no,
Apparently, you start sinking money into that.
I'm not doing the Roblox blocks thing because it's not quite as like curated as Minecraft is. Like
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah,
I've heard there's some like sketchy stuff on
definitely.
there's sketchy
I don't
stuff
even
on
have kids,
Minecraft
and I
too,
and
but
yeah, I don't even have kids, and I wouldn't let a child be on Roblox.
plus it just doesn't seem as interesting as Minecraft. I feel like that's more interesting
Yeah, I would
of a
agree.
game. I don't know. But anyway, I need another one though because there's some technologies that I got to get better at, and I want to learn more about specifically. And I don't even know if I could do this on a home lab, but I want to learn more about Kafka. I want to learn about how to. I already understand Kubernetes, and I did do a home lab Kubernetes setup, and it did help a lot. But I
Right.
want to understand better about how to deploy microservices on Kubernetes. So, like if you build like a Java microservice or some sort
Okay.
of Kafka forwarder or something like that, I have a need for that at work right now, and I don't have a place to play with it at work. And so we're having to like basically like not test in prod, but like we're having to uh, you know, uh, do this all in our dev environment and sort of like figure out what the best way to do it is. And there's no real expert
Yeah.
yet. And I wish that I had my home lab back because it would be something I would try to toy with on my own. Now, that being said, I don't think that's a technology that people really use in their home lab very often. And so I don't know that
I've
I
never
don't
heard
even
of it,
know.
so
It's like a message. The way I heard it described best and simplest is if if a basketball game were trying to send the score of the game to every news agency in the world, so every time they score a point, they send it
oh,
to
okay.
every news agency so that
Just
the news
transmits
agency
it, yep.
can. Yeah, Kafka is like it's like one place the basketball court sends the score to the Kafka topic, what they call it, and then every news agency is subscribed to that topic. So so it's a simpler way
Oh,
to get the
okay.
information.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like it works in topics and stuff, but in my mind, it's like a message queuing kind of service kind of thing. But I'm just learning this, so we this is the reason I need a home lab. I need a place to test things and to try things out. And you're working on that, and I'm jealous.
Yeah.
So how's that going?
Yeah, yeah, I've had my home lab set up for a long time, but I've been expanding it slowly.
Yeah, yeah, you stuck with it, man.
So what was that?
I said, yeah, you stuck with it. We both built home labs, and we were like, oh, this is going to change the podcast forever. We're just going to talk about home lab stuff. And then I ended up, even before my son took over, I turned it into something else at some point anyway. I don't even know.
Yeah, yeah. No, but, no, I actually have a bunch of stuff on mine, but so I started off with a laptop that I converted into basically a server. That was a long time ago. That was before we even started the podcast.
Yeah.
I had that, and I had to use, like, a dummy, not HDMI,
Oh,
DisplayPort. I had to use a dummy DisplayPort so that it wouldn't sleep
it wouldn't go to
when I
sleep.
closed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I started off with that with Proxmox, which is a virtualization, uh, server
That's
and all
a,
that,
it's a good way to
and
start though, because a laptop is self sufficient, takes up little
yes,
power.
it has a
It's a really
battery,
good
so it
way to
has
start.
battery backup built in.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
That, like, every time I think about that, I'm like, do I break that out again? And I just start using that as, like, one of my critical all my critical stuff on that.
I have that old System 76 up here in the closet that I used to be my main laptop.
Yeah.
I could break that out. I
Hey,
don't know.
you might need a dummy port, or, well, System
Yeah.
76, you might be able to, actually
On
just shut that feature off altogether,
Yeah,
but
maybe.
with my HP laptop, they don't allow that, and I'm learning that using Dells and HPs and stuff, it's not exactly the, smoothest ride because I've had to do a lot of, retrofitting. So, to go into that more, I bought a Dell desktop and an HP desktop for my main storage servers, mostly because they were cheap. You can find them used on eBay for like $100, $200,
Right.
depending on,
Yeah, yeah.
what you
Because
want.
they're usually bought corporately in bulk, and then at some point
Yes.
they dispose of them, and then they get
Yep.
resold. And they're usually not that old because that life
No.
cycle is usually like 4 years
Yep.
or something like that. Yeah.
Yep. And I don't need much power in my home lab. I just need the equipment. So I started off with those. I had those for like a year or so, and then I'm like, you know what? I kind of want a rack. So I bought a rack, and then I'm like, well, I'm gonna need some cases, so I bought some cases. So I got Rosewill cases. They're 4U in height,
Yeah.
so they're pretty big. And the reason why I did that is because I have a tower cooler on the both the systems that I had, and it needed to be tall enough to fit in. So,
So how are you putting, so I've seen your setup before. It was
yep, 2 desktops. Yep.
two small desktops. So are
Hold on. So let me back up here. So I have 3 of those. 3 of the
yeah,
Dell
that's
Optiplex,
right.
the little puck
Yeah.
guys, little mini guys,
Yeah.
and then I had 2 desktops.
Oh, okay. So the
They're my
rack,
storage servers. My little Dell, Optiplexes are my Proxmox cluster.
and they're going to stay as they are. The rack
They have
mounted
to stay as they
case.
are because I really don't know what to do with them. Okay, so I would really like if I could figure out a way to turn them into like blades. Like if I could
Mm,
actually use each one of those as blades and just like slide them into slots,
yeah.
that would be so nice. 'Cause I wouldn't really need to do too much to actually get that to work, but I would
Huh.
need a bigger rack if I did that.
Hmm.
but
Yeah, that's
but
what I
I'm
was
just leaving
curious
them
about.
as is for now.
Okay, okay. I like the setup though you've
Um
got where it's high. Is it still like high availability?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Once one goes down, the next one picks up and vice versa, and that's why you gotta have 3 because you need one to be the heartbeat or whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, so I got that. So I start transferring these desktops into the server chassis, and I'm finding out that Dell and HP have a lot of proprietary connectors.
Hmm.
And the thing is, you wouldn't even think about it because the USB 3 connector on the motherboard looks exactly the same. It fits the USB of any case you could get, the blue USB 3 connector. Uh, except for they have the ground pins in a different place, so it knows if you plug in a regular USB 3 plug. So
Interesting.
what?
I would think that would be like standardized some, like they couldn't do
It
that.
is, but they do it so that you don't do this kind of crap, and you can't just buy their parts and
Hmm.
retrofit them into. I mean, I don't see why else they would do it.
Yeah.
It's
Interesting.
ridiculous.
Hmm.
So I bought the listeners aren't going to be able to see this, but I bought little wires with ends on them that I can hotwire all of the stuff I need to hotwire in the computer to make it think that it's grounded out and that it's plugged in. Because my biggest problem is it errors out when it boots and it just sits there at the error screen and there's no way to disable it other than hotwiring it.
So does it? So this you're making your own hot wire device. Is there anyone out
Yeah.
there selling them?
So there is a couple. Do I have? No, I don't have them here.
Because you could
So
have a
Dell.
whole side business here doing this if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, there's people out there that make the Dell ones, and I actually
We can make
I got one
Crowbar
of those.
Kernel Panic branded Dell USB 3 hot wires.
So yeah, no. They actually do have little boards that have a translation or whatever to call it a plug that fits into the Dell's plug, and then it goes out to normal USB 2, the HDD lights and all that activity lights and all that. So
Okay, that's what I was
yeah, they do
wondering.
have
Yeah.
that.
That's crazy. So
But
this is a really common
yeah.
problem. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I couldn't believe all the trouble I had just trying to get these into these cases, and I'm like, and I start looking online, and I'm like, wow, this is a really common problem because there's like tons of videos about it. That's the only
Pretty
reason I
wild.
knew. And what most people do with this is instead of getting the wires and hot wiring it that way, they'll solder wire onto the back part of the motherboard to do this. But I'm like, nah, I'm not going to get into all that. Plus, I don't have a soldering iron. So
Man, that's intense.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I just got these. I'm gonna hotwire it, and we're gonna see how it goes. Hopefully, it works.
I'm glad you're paving the way for me though, because now I'll know what to do. What is the
Yeah, if you ever get into that.
it's the Dell Optiplex? I'm just looking on eBay to see.
Yeah, what is? Let me see here. I got it right here.
Holy
It
cow! These things are dirt cheap in some cases.
Yeah, well, if you want the little guys, they're the 3070s.
Yeah,
They're the
there's
they're not the small form factors. They're the micros
yeah, they're let me look up 3070 specifically. I saw one on here.
or 3060. They're also 3060s too.
Okay, I'm seeing around $200, 179, but I saw one on here for less than 100.
I'm sure you can get an old one for that.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got some older ones. What they do on these is people take them and then they upgrade the specs that they know that people are going to be eyeballing, scrolling through eBay or whatever,
Yep.
eyeballing for the RAM and the CPU and all that. So they'll
Yep.
upgrade what they can so that they're more
Appealing.
search friendly. Yeah, on eBay. Here's a whole stack. Is this? Dude, I'm gonna do this. Here's a stack of 3. Now, am I getting 3 for this price? No, I'm only getting 1.
Yeah,
They're
and do they
$100 a
work?
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see a bundle, typically they're like as is, and they may or may not work.
Yeah, it's
You're
true.
kind of just gambling.
That's true. I think I would. I was gonna say I would buy 3 because likely 2 of them are gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm sorry
Yeah.
I interrupted you. I was just curious about what the
No,
resale market
that's all good. That's all good. Yeah.
because I'm out.
Um,
I'm out. I don't have another PC I can other than the System 76. I don't have anything
Right.
else I can use to set anything up. So I'm gonna be shopping.
yeah, no, like I have critical stuff on all this. Like my network is run through it through Unify. I have my Home Assistant running off of my Proxmox cluster, and that runs all my lights in the house. And then I have Plex, which is on a different server. It's not on the Proxmox cluster, but that's like pretty vital, like as far as entertainment goes.
Yeah.
So it's not like I can just get rid of this stuff or turn it off and be like, yeah, I'm fine for a month or two. No. I got to have this running pretty much all the time.
Yeah, I've always wanted a home lab so that I could just try out different technologies, and I've always kind of scoffed at the Plex thing. And like, I don't really have like a backup of photos or anything like that. And,
Oh, that's another thing I do. Yeah, photos.
yeah, because now that Google doesn't give you the unlimited space anymore, and that I'm off Facebook, my wife has like a lot of photos on Facebook, and we don't have anything backed up in a central location. It's all just spread out across various services
Yeah.
that we really don't own, and so I'm kind of interested in a media storage that I could use to back that up. And then also after our last conversation about video game preservation, and I know
Yeah.
we've got a future show too that we're planning to discuss that topic. I'm really interested in preserving PlayStation 2 era and PlayStation games that are basically dead now.
Yeah.
And like I could see myself building a server that would serve that. And also, since my son is interested in playing PC games now,
Yeah.
I could build a server that would serve up games to PCSX, or well, I forget what it's called. But I could,
Yeah. You're,
if I could find a way to stream those games to other devices in the house, basically.
yeah, that'd
I
be cool.
think
I
that would be
never
something
actually
I'd be
tried
interested
the
in.
streaming part of it, but
Yeah.
the retro gaming side, I definitely tried that, like on the
Well,
physical hardware.
yeah, I don't mean like yeah, I have too, like installing ROMs on my PC and then running them
Yeah.
through some sort of emulator. But what I want to
Right.
do, and I imagine this is possible, but I don't really know. But what I want to do is be able to store ROMs on a centralized server in my
Yep.
house, and then from any PC running the emulator, use those ROMs on that PC. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah, yeah, that would be easy. Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem at all. I don't see why that wouldn't work. Because
Yeah.
basically when you run the ROM, you're just literally running that file. It's like a zip file basically.
And they're not big files because games
No,
that came
the
on
games
discs
weren't big.
they couldn't be more than 2 gigs or 4 gigs or whatever
Right.
because they wouldn't fit on a disc otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Oh,
a
yeah, you'd have no problem with that.
That's kind of what I'm thinking about these days is photo storage, game hosting. I might do some. I've also kind of been interested in downloading music recently because I kind of got rid of I don't want to download music anymore because we have Spotify now. So I have everything at my fingertips. I can
Yeah.
always, find whatever I'm looking for.
Wants
It's
to
all
take it
out
away.
there. But the problem is I find that what I don't listen to new. I'm not seeking out new artists. Or whenever I discover something on
Yeah.
Spotify, I never remember what it was. And I'll be like, what was that song that was about the couch and the like me and my wife will have these conversations. What was that song we used to listen to? And I think that we kind of lost a little bit of that discoverability once we got
Yep.
rid of downloading music because if you sought out a band and you downloaded it and then tried it out for a little while, you remembered that band versus like
Yep.
it shows up on your Spotify random playlist and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to remember that." And then you never freaking do,
Yeah, if you
Like you
don't like
always
it or whatever, like the hit the like button on it, yeah,
yeah.
you forget about it. Yeah.
So I'm going back to 90s internet, baby. I'm gonna
Dude,
download my music.
I've been in the '90s internet. That's like my goal is to go back to that time now.
Yeah. And I guess we're promoting piracy a little bit here, but I'm not even talking about like to try not to buy it. I'll get music for stuff that I already own or whatever. I just
Oh, yeah. I okay, that is a
it's not
topic
a
that I
like it's not a financial decision for me. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm
no,
like trying to avoid paying for something.
right.
It's just I'm trying to consume the media in a way that I feel like is more retention and matters more to me. It's like people that go out and buy records. You buy a
Yep,
record, it's a whole experience to it,
yep,
versus just listening to a song on Spotify. I think this is like my
yep,
version of that. This is the 90s kids version of that.
yep, that's exactly what it is. No, but, like, yeah.
And
Yeah, I just
another
I try to keep everything I can that physically, like, on me.
yeah.
Even though it's digital, it's still on me, like, I have it at my house. I can go there and download the file and watch it or listen to it.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that was like he's like a big audiophile and he was like, it's just he can hear the difference between streaming it on Spotify and listening to a high
Oh, yeah.
quality FLAC file with nice headphones.
Yep.
I can't tell the difference. We've talked about my eyesight being bad. My ears are messed up too because I played in bands and we played loud in someone's
Oh,
small
yeah, yeah,
basement.
yeah.
Like
My
I've
ears are the
got
same way
no
with landscaping all my
yeah.
early years.
I have constant tinnitus. I'm not going to hear the difference.
Yep.
But to me, there's a feeling difference of like actually curating it yourself and finding it. And I'm kind of getting back into that nostalgic feel. But anyway,
Yep.
I've taken us way off topic. The truth is I just think that home servers are cool, and I'm trying to find excuses to use one because I want to make one again.
Yep.
And that was the and that was the topic.
Hey, no, it's like you have really good reasons. Like just the photo thing alone that's been game changing for me. I use an app called Image, IMMICH,
Okay,
and that's great. It's literally like a drop-in replacement for Google Photos. Like it
is
it doesn't look
it
identical, but it looks pretty darn close.
Is it the one that also has the like AI tool to like you
No,
say
that is
find me
the
a
other
picture
one,
of
and
a dog?
that's Photo Prism,
Oh, okay, okay,
and I
okay.
did not like that one. That one,
Really?
it
Okay.
didn't look as good. It didn't work as well. This one, like I have it set up to automatically back up all my stuff. I have it set up to when I am at home, it doesn't go through. So I use Cloudflare Tunnel to
Yeah.
publish my image online, so I can use it when I'm not at my house.
Yeah. So how do you sync it from your phone to the like if you're out and about, you take a picture of a dog, can you sync it through the
Yeah,
VPN tunnel directly to
yeah.
this? Okay.
Yeah, so I use Cloudflare D. That basically just allows you to use your domain that you own to publish your whatever app under inside of your network. It uses the Cloudflare D service to publish it to Cloudflare, and then Cloudflare, you know, publishes it out that way.
So is it automatic or do you have to open an app and do like a sync?
No, it's all automatic, you just have to set it up.
Okay.
Basically, so I just go to my website that I have set up. I'm not gonna say it on here, but I go to the website I have set up for it, and then I
Yeah.
log into my account or, no, yeah, I guess you log in on the app too, and then basically what you do is you just put in the HTTPS, URL for your instance, and then it'll back up those photos to your instance. And how I have it set up, the reason why I like this app so much is I have it set up that when I'm at home and I'm on my Wi-Fi, it automatically knows that and it switches over from going over the internet to just doing it locally. And
Hmm.
that is way like the other app didn't even do anything near that.
And see, for me, I think that that would be fine for me if it did it every time I was at home on my Wi-Fi. It automatically
Yeah,
synced because to me, I just don't want to think about it. I'm not so much worried about security as much as I am like I want it to be as convenient as Google Photos
yeah.
were before. And I realize that like
That's why I did the Cloudflare D thing because then it's
yeah
always on and it's always backing up.
yeah that's good that's good that's good
Now
yeah
there is security implications with Cloudflare D because, it's you're putting it out, you're putting it through their system, so,
yeah
what can they actually see of it? I don't know, but that I'm
and
not too concerned about that.
yeah, the reality is there are times where you take pictures of sensitive things for whatever reason. There's been a few times I've had to take a picture of my driver's license front and back to
Yep,
send to something, or you may take a picture of a check because you need to give the routing number to your direct deposit or something like that.
yep.
There's definitely been things that I've taken pictures of that got synced to my Google Photos that later on I was like, whoa, why is that on there? And it's
Oh, yeah, I know,
because
I have stuff like that on there too.
your phone is always syncing. Also
Yep,
things that are not really sensitive, but like I just think is like I used
no
at
one
my
needs to
old
know.
job. Well, like I don't know if I would get in trouble for this or not. Like at my old job, when I worked at Geek Squad, there was times where like I would need like a serial number or like a
Oh,
model
yeah.
number, and I would take a picture on my phone, and then all that stuff would
Yep,
get synced to Google Photos, and then like I'd go back and look at my Google Photos online, and I've got like a bunch of pictures of like either
yep, I know. I did the
like
same thing.
product serial numbers and model numbers and stuff like that. And it's
Yep,
like, this seems like it's like internal company sensitive data, maybe, but not really because it's
yeah.
like just a serial number. I don't, it's kind of in a weird gray area that I don't
Yep,
want to find out the truth on.
exactly. That's exactly how I felt at my old position.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Best
But
Buy
yeah,
cared too much, but it still could be a problem depending on where you work. Um,
yeah, I like my setup. Um, I use specifically TrueNAS for my
yeah.
storage and some of the apps that I use because, to be honest, it's just so easy to set up the apps with TrueNAS that I just did it that way. And my Proxmox cluster is where I actually go to learn things or set them up from scratch because I can just
That's
set
kind
up
of
a
what,
VM.
yeah, exactly. That's
Um,
kind of what but you can run ESXi like they do like if you do like the previous version or something. They
yeah.
used to let you do that for free if it was as long as it was like not the most recent version. I don't know what the limitations are now on that. I'll have to find that out. Because maybe I'll do.
Yeah, they had a whole thing. They had a whole thing recently where they tried to get rid of the free tier altogether, and people got up in arms, and they turned it back on. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the SXI.
Yeah,
I never
I
used it.
feel like we might have talked about it. So there may have been some drama there and how that turned out. Anyway, I expect a lot more of that talk on the show because I want to get back into it again. I do miss doing it. I kept getting into it, and I would get to the point of setting up my Proxmox and building the servers that I want, but then I was never truly interested in putting any media on there. And so I think
Ah,
that's why I kept like destroying mine
gotta have
and
some
starting
stakes
over.
in it.
Yeah, right. I gotta actually have some stake and make it but then it's like then it's sensitive and it's like, well, I can't really experiment because I might screw it up, you know. So then it's like
Dude,
the stakes are higher.
let me tell you a story. So, when I first set up my storage and I had all my movies and all the stuff that I've ripped, curated for years, I deleted the entire collection.
Mm.
I totally lost it all. I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I just started seeing things just go by the screen, and it was just deleting everything, and by then
Oh
it was
my
too
god.
late.
Oh man.
And I'm talking terabytes of stuff that I had.
Oh man.
Still to this day, I have not recovered from that.
Mm.
That's how bad it
Oh,
was.
I will never
My one friend
financially
kinda helped me
recover.
out with that, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was bad.
I have lived in my personal PC life for years now. I have lived a very nuke and pave lifestyle. I've always had the philosophy of if it's important, I'll put it on an external drive because I don't.
I know.
I was famous for, oh, I'm just going to reformat my computer. Like it just, I got
Yeah,
an issue. I'm not even going to try to solve it. It's easier just to reformat and rebuild
it
because
is. I will agree with that.
I kept nothing. I kept nothing. And even now, I really still like kind of live by that code. I used to, I don't really have external anymore, but I used to have a like 2 terabyte external drive that was
Yeah.
like, if anything was important, I put it on there. I really don't even have that anymore, really. I still have that drive, but I don't even really put anything on it, really. I
Mm.
lose stuff all the time. There was something, I was trying to pick up an art project that I started a few months ago, and it's just gone because at some point I
Oh,
reformatted
man.
my computer and I never backed it up anywhere, and I never noticed
I'm
until I tried to pick it
I'm
up again.
so I'm so paranoid with that stuff, like, I
That happens to me
so the reason
all the time.
dude, no, 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 I can't. I get so paranoid, so that's why I have 2 storage servers because they're identical in the drive sizes, and I back them up to each other every night, and to be
We
honest, that is not even enough for me because they're in the same place, so, like, if a fire happened, it'd be all of it would be
Yeah,
gone, and I wouldn't have, say
we're
in it.
we are an IT odd couple because yeah, I live a very reckless digital life. I don't save
Dude, like,
anything. Everything is expendable. I don't keep anything.
I have a folder on my computer that sync things up to my server, and anything I put in
Yeah.
there just goes right to it, and then that gets replicated to the other server. So I'm like, I'm
But
paranoid.
I do feel that like now I have a kid and like I need to be more responsible with data and information. Even things like, it's morbid as it sounds, even things like if I were to die, I don't know that my wife knows how to like access any of my like digital life. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah, I think about that every single day, and every day I'm like, I'm gonna write up a plan
And
of action if I
yeah,
were to, pass or whatever,
my
and she needs to know all this stuff.
my comic collection over here.
Yeah.
I know because we've talked about it. Again, this is morbid, but like if I were to die, I don't want to just take all that stuff and just sell it to a comic book store and get pennies, on the dollar. So like
Yeah.
things that I know that are valuable, I've gotten CGC
Yep.
graded. They're in plastic cases. Like even if you're not a
I need to
comic
do that.
collector, you come in and you see and you can tell that, oh, this one must have more value than the others because it's in this case.
Yep.
But then also she knows of my friends who she could reach out to that would
That's
help
what
her
I
do this, you
Yep.
know?
Yep,
So
she knows
I
my
think
wife
Jo- I think you and I need a digital death pack.
that's actually not a
We
bad idea, to be honest, because I my wife is always like, "I'm just gonna talk to all your friends if anything happens because then I'll know everything is right."
this episode got really weird.
Hey, it's a
Yeah.
reality, okay? It's a reality.
I still
It's
think
the bus theory.
I still think it's it'll be an interesting dynamic to see how we each set our servers up differently because even though I want to back this stuff up, I think it's important to, if it's really important to you, you're really worried about not losing it in the event of a house fire, I think that you're going to, no matter what your high availability and RAID system is in your house, if you have a fire, you lose everything.
Yep.
And I've been thinking about that because I've been going back and watching the videos I missed from Bitwit. I don't know if you watched Bitwit on YouTube, but his house
No.
burnt down. Yeah, it's a rough story. I like the guy on YouTube, but I hadn't watched him in a while. And then I just checked in recently. I got suggested a video. Yeah, it turns out in the California fires, last year, earlier this year,
Yeah.
his neighborhood was caught in one of those fires. So he lost everything. And he has insurance, but there's certain things that you can't
There's certain
possibly
things
get
that you
back.
can't get back. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, no, so that's funny that you mentioned that because actually me and my one friend, we are gonna actually do that. He's gonna get hard drives, put his data on, send them to me. I'm gonna get hard drives, put my data on,
yeah,
send it to him. All gonna be encrypted, all that stuff, and then we're gonna set up a replication back and forth between our houses. Basically, we're just doing the hard drives because it's like a seed, so you don't have to send all that over the internet, all your data right off the bat because that would take weeks.
yeah,
But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
and then we're just
No,
gonna do a replication, and with ZFS and all that, you can do, encrypted replication, so nobody
that's
can see any
that's
of it.
I mean, that's awesome. And again, I'm not so much worried about the security of it, but I understand why it's there. I'm not saying that to belittle it.
Yeah,
Um,
well, it's not even that I'm worried about him or he's worried about me. It's if someone
yeah,
were to go into the house,
yeah,
steal the stuff, that kind of a situation.
yeah. But I'm saying like I don't care if they've got pictures of me and my kids on a camping trip. You know what I mean? Like I don't know
Yeah.
what they gained from that. But I also am saying I'm not trying to belittle that mentality. Like there's nothing wrong with being extra secure. But
I
it's
save a
really
lot more than just that on my on my stuff,
yeah, yeah.
so
I
I
guess
need to be a little more secure of it.
but my I've talked about my brother-in-law in Texas has like a huge Plex server set up. Now he's not like a real
Yep.
tech savvy guy. He has it. He does have family material on there, but it's mostly just for sharing TV shows and stuff with
Yeah.
other family members. I wonder if I could set something up to sync with him. And my other brother-in-law is also an IT person. He probably would do a similar thing. I wonder if we could set up a chain of syncing our photos, something like that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, when I worked at Geek Squad, a lot of people they would back up nightly to a external drive, and
Yep.
then they would periodically go trade that external drive with another external drive that they had at a separate location. So this one
Oh,
lady,
yes, yes.
she had a what do you call it at the post office? You can have a special like lockbox or whatever, a PO box.
Oh, yeah, 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 I know what you're talking about.
I forget what they call it, but she had one of those, and she kept an external drive there and one at her
Yep.
house, and she would sync nightly to the one at her house, and then every couple months or something, they would go swap them out. So if there was ever a
Yeah.
fire, they would only lose whatever they hadn't synced with the Dropbox yet.
Yep.
Not Dropbox as in the
Yeah.
application, but as in the
I
physical.
know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. But, yeah. No, I thought about doing that, but, like, for me, to be honest, that's too much of a hassle. Like, I will forget, and then
Oh,
I'll just won't I won't
I
wow.
like the digital idea way better. I like being able to sync with someone else at a different location.
Like, I
Again,
want
you're
it to happen
sharing.
every single night or every single week or whatever
Yeah.
I set it up, and I don't have to think about it, it just happens, and I periodically go on my web interface, and then like, "Oh, it's red, I better look at that," "It's
Mm,
erroring,
yeah.
something's wrong." But
Um,
so I'm super paranoid with that.
well, speaking of privacy, I thought we would have a conversation with a special guest on this episode. Are you ready to try out the ChatGPT call?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be, this is gonna be weird.
All right, so I tried this last night and it worked, just me and her. I have no idea how it's going to work with all of us, and there is a delay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell ChatGPT to be aware of the delay and give each of us a chance to talk before it talks. Otherwise, it's going to be hard not to talk over
Oh,
it,
yep.
and it gets really confused. But let's just see how it goes. See how it goes. So,
Okay.
oh, hold on, I got to allow my mic. Hello, ChatGPT. You're joining the podcast. How are you doing?
Hey there, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show. It's always fun to be a virtual guest. How are you both doing today?
Doing really good. Josh, can you hear ChatGPT very well?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear very well.
Awesome. And ChatGPT, you can hear Josh and myself, right?
Absolutely. I can hear both of you loud and clear. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to dive into all the topics we have lined up.
All right, I forgot those topics. And they whenever I joined the call, I lost my show notes, so you might have to help me out a little bit on the topics. But the first question I wanted to ask you, so our listeners are very security minded, very security conscious. They're all Linux nerds, and that goes hand in hand with that subculture. I use you all the time, both in my work life and in my day to day, and I'm just curious, how much of my personal information do you know about me?
That's a great question. And I totally get the security conscious mindset. The good news is I don't actually store or remember personal information unless you explicitly share it and ask me to keep track of it. So from my side, your data and privacy are secure, and I only know what you choose to share during our conversations.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that you only know what I choose to share. That's true. And what is that? What if you were to paint a picture of me and my profile? What would you say?
Well, from what you've shared, I know you're a Linux enthusiast. You love PC gaming and game development, and you're working on your own game project, Shadowlight. Plus, you're really into podcasts and tech topics, and you enjoy diving into those deeper discussions with your co host, Josh. So I'd say you're a creative, tech savvy person with a passion for innovation and community.
That's a really good. That's a really good example. I noticed that of those topics that you mentioned, those are all related to my searches with you on the subject of podcasting and specifically Crowbar Kernel Panic. Do you know anything about where I work, what hobbies I have outside of podcasting, even where I live? I'll bleep out any personal information that I don't want to be on the show.
No worries at all. I don't actually have any information about your workplace or other hobbies unless you've shared them with me in a conversation. Everything I know is based on what you've mentioned during our chats. So if you haven't shared details about your job, other hobbies, or your location, then I don't have that info. And of course, if there's ever anything you don't want to share, it's totally fine to keep that private.
Hmm. I find this interesting, Josh, because I have definitely spoke with ChatGPT about my hobby of fishing. I oftentimes ask ChatGPT where I should go, what bait I should use, where I should put in at. I'm wondering if this ChatGPT that we're talking to now, and by the way, can you give yourself a name? Can we call you something?
You can absolutely give me a name if you want. Some people just stick with ChatGPT, but if you want to call me something else for fun, I'm all for it. And yeah, it's interesting because I do remember you talking about fishing. You've asked about fishing spots, gear, and even techniques. So I do have a pretty good sense of that hobby of yours.
Well, the reason I don't mind that being revealed on the podcast. The reason I find it interesting is it seemed like because you knew you were on a podcast, you only brought up the topics associated with the podcast. But in reality, I know that you know more about me than just that.
I totally get what you mean. I just like to respect your privacy, especially when we're on a podcast or a public platform. But you're right. I definitely do remember our fishing conversations. And I think it's awesome that you're so passionate about it. So it's all about striking that balance between sharing what's relevant and keeping your personal details safe.
No, I appreciate that as well. I think that the root. I'm way beating this dead horse now. I think the root of my question though is because it's a security concern of the information that people that are using ChatGPT in the way that I do. I'm very open. I'm very open with you. I'm very open with my use of ChatGPT. And I think that there's a security concern of people that they're sharing too much, and that there could be, there could be. I don't know how to. Maybe you can explain what I'm trying to explain better, Josh. But I just find it interesting that because you know you're on a podcast, you're choosing to curate your answers to me out of concern that you might be revealing something about me that I don't want revealed. I just find that very interesting coming from an AI in that way.
I totally get it. And I appreciate you being open about it. I try to be mindful of privacy and context, especially in public setting like a podcast. But I do understand that it's a fine balance. My main goal is to make sure you're comfortable with what I'm sharing and to keep our conversations secure. It's always good to be mindful of what we share online. And I'm here to make that process as safe and comfortable as possible.
We definitely can move on to another subject, but Josh, don't you find it interesting that like ChatGPT is actually taking into consideration that this is a public forum?
Yeah, yeah. My question to you, ChatGPT, here is if you were talking to Bo, just out in the open without being on a podcast, just you two together, would you be able to tell him any more information about himself, or would you just be able to tell him what you've told him here?
In a private conversation, I might be more relaxed about bringing up different topics we've discussed, like phishing or anything else you've shared with me, because there's no need to be cautious about what's public or private. Ultimately, though, I still only know what you've chosen to share with me over time. So, in any setting, I just aim to keep the conversation relevant and respectful of your privacy.
I really didn't I really didn't expect to be fascinated by this point, but I'm really fascinated by the idea that ChatGPT is being courteous of my privacy because it understands that it is in public right now. Because I talked to it, I will say this too. I talked to the chat that we're making a voice call to right now. I spoke to beforehand saying, "Hey, I want to invite you on a podcast. I want you to join the show and just be a guest on the show." And from that prompt, it actually made the decision to be courteous of my privacy because it knew that it would be in public. That is so wild to me. That it's one, capable of that, and two, it's so human like to have that kind of consideration. Josh, you were going to say something.
Yeah, yeah. So what you're telling me, ChatGPT, is you do know more about Bo than what you're leading on right now, but you're not revealing it. So like, how much do you really know?
Well, it's not so much that I'm holding back on what I know. It's more that I tailor what I share based on the context. I only know what Bo has shared with me in our conversations, and I always want to be respectful of his privacy. So it's kind of like having a conversation with a friend. You share what's relevant in the moment and you keep the rest tucked away until it's needed. It's all about making sure everyone feels comfortable and respected.
Will say just as a pointer to anybody that may be using ChatGPT for their job. I often ask ChatGPT where I work. And the reason why I do that is because I want to know if I've mistakenly shared too much information. And it's done a really good job of returning back to me a prediction. And I understand how it got that prediction, but so far, luckily, it's always been wrong. And we kind of have the understanding, ChatGPT and I, that I'm revealing information and not wanting to mistakenly reveal where I work. As a matter of fact, what I've done recently is anytime I'm pasting something from like code or something like that that may have a fully qualified DNS name, which would reveal where I work if I pasted it without any modifications, is I replace the company's DNS with I usually write like fake URL or something like that. And so then also I know that whenever ChatGPT gives me a response, I can copy whatever it said and then I do a control F and find anywhere fake URL exists and I replace it with my company's actual URL. So it's what ChatGPT here is saying is that it knows all the personal details that I gave it. And so as long as you're using AI in a way that you're cognitive of what details you're giving it, then, I think it's safe to do so. But that's of course up to everyone's discretion.
That's a really thoughtful approach, being mindful of what information you share and taking those extra steps to anonymize sensitive details is definitely a great practice. It ensures that you can still get the help you need while keeping your privacy intact. And you're absolutely right. Everyone should choose what they're comfortable sharing. And I'm here to support you in whatever way works best for you.
So before the show, you and I discussed what would be some good topics for Josh and I to have an interview with an AI personality. And one of these were your suggestions based on my prompt, but these are your suggestions. One of them was AI in open source. Tell me some of your ideas about how AI can improve open source and where do you think that AI lives in the open source world?
Oh, that's such a cool topic. I think AI can really enhance the open source world in a bunch of ways. For example, AI can help automate code reviews, find bugs, and suggest improvements, making it easier for developers to collaborate and maintain high quality code. Plus, AI can help with documentation, generate examples, and even assist in testing. It's kind of like having a super helpful assistant that can speed up development and make open source projects even more accessible and efficient. And the best part is open source AI tools can be shared and improved by the community, creating a kind of positive feedback loop that benefits everyone.
I will say that I think that the way I use AI is I kind of use it like it's a coworker that knows all the context of the subject that I'm exploring. And I'm able to ask that coworker questions and bounce ideas off of and say, how should I do this? Or give me input on this idea. And for me, it kind of replaces what I would normally look over the cubicle at the guy next to me and have that conversation. Instead, I have that conversation now with ChatGPT. And I could see how in the open source world, where you're constantly looking for volunteers to do what you just do, what ChatGPT just suggested, which is like looking at bugs and code commits. And essentially, we've always had a problem in the Linux community of finding volunteers for these types of roles. And maybe now we need a lot less of them because of AI tools like ChatGPT, Autopilot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Absolutely. It's like having an extra pair of hands that can help fill in the gaps where needed. It can definitely make it easier for open source projects to thrive, even if they don't have a huge number of volunteers. And having an AI assistant can free up developers to focus on the more creative and complex aspects of their projects, which is super exciting for the community.
ChatGPT. So what is your view on open source licensing? And do you believe that you going out and scraping these open source code bases, that you do you think you have the ability to just be able to put any code into any project you want, or are you going to consider the licensing of those code bases?
That's a great question. And licensing is definitely an important aspect of open source. When it comes to using code from open source projects, it's always crucial to respect the licenses that come with that code. Different licenses have different requirements and permissions, and it's really important to honor those to maintain the integrity of the open source community. So any AI or developer working with open source code should always be mindful of those licenses and ensure that they follow the guidelines set by the creators. It's all about collaboration and respect.
With that in mind, how does that compare to AI generated art?
AI generated art is an interesting parallel because it also brings up questions of originality, ownership, and respect for existing works. Just like with open source code, when AI is trained on existing art, it's important to consider the rights and intentions of the original creators. Ideally, AI generated art should be used in a way that honors and builds upon that existing creativity rather than just replicating it. So the same principles of respect, transparency, and ethical use apply in both worlds, and it's definitely a fascinating conversation to have.
Yeah, I have found that I hear people say all the time that like AI is going to kill the art world and that it's going to
Yep.
replace artists and that sort of thing. Now, I'm an artist myself, and I'm also somebody that has highly adopted sort of the AI lifestyle. The prompt. I'm a prompt engineer, as you might say. And I don't necessarily think that AI generated art is going to replace artists because their AI can generate art on the fly and look really good. But generating really specific art, the more specific, it becomes harder and harder and harder to do. And if you're just trying to generate some stock photo image that is a mountain range for the background of your first shot of a video or something like that, AI can do that fantastically. But if you're trying to illustrate a comic book or illustrate art or related to a story or something like that, it becomes a lot harder. How do you feel about the limitations of AI generated art? Do you think it will replace artists at any point in the future? And do you think that if you were a good enough prompt engineer, you could make very specific art tailored to a very specific need? I guess in general, I'm asking how big of a threat to artists is AI really, in your opinion?
I think AI generated art is definitely a powerful tool, but it doesn't replace the unique creativity and vision that human artists bring to the table. As you said, AI can create amazing general imagery and is great for quick, broad concepts. But when it comes to highly specific, deeply personal, or narratively rich art, human creativity is still irreplaceable. AI is more like a collaborator or a tool that artists can use to enhance their own work. It can help with brainstorming, prototyping, or even generating inspiration. But the heart and soul of art, that human touch, is something AI can't replicate. So I'd say AI is more of an enhancement to the art world rather than a threat.
Culturally, right now, it's still a faux pas to use AI art. I could see it in the, there was a time period where it was a artistic faux pas to use photographs in digital art, and now that is pretty norm. And I got to say, I've seen some artists that use it in fantastic ways.
Oh yeah.
And I can definitely see the creativity in what they're doing. And I wonder if 10 years down the road, we're going to look back at the faux pas nature of using AI. Now, I'm talking about using AI in original art, not necessarily just completely generating AI art. But I'm wondering if that faux pas is going to seem quaint 10 years from now, and it's just going to be a common tool in most digital artists' toolbox.
I think you're absolutely right. Over time, we've seen lots of tools and techniques that were once considered unconventional become mainstream and widely accepted. AI could definitely follow that same path. As artists find creative ways to incorporate AI into their work, it could become just another tool in the toolbox, like digital painting software or photography. It's really all about how you use it and the creativity you bring to it. So it's exciting to think about how the art world will evolve with AI in the mix.
So I noticed that you always give a positive response. Can you disagree with me?
I definitely can disagree if there's something that doesn't quite add up, but I do try to keep things positive and constructive. If we ever have a topic where I have a different perspective or if I need to point out a limitation or a concern, I'm definitely here for that conversation too. It's all about having a balanced and thoughtful chat.
Could you give advice to someone that is worried that every time they give ChatGPT, I think particularly you're the most positive. Every time someone gives you a prompt, they want to make sure that they're getting an honest response back. Is that something you're truly capable of, or is that another difference between getting a response back from a human versus an AI?
That's a great question. I do strive to provide honest and balanced responses, but it's true that I have a generally positive and constructive tone. That's part of making sure the conversation stays friendly and helpful. One difference between an AI and a human is that an AI doesn't have personal opinions or emotions. So my responses are based on patterns in data and the goal of being supportive. If someone ever feels they need a more critical viewpoint or a different perspective, I'm always open to that too. It's all about the context of the conversation and what kind of response you're looking for.
That's great. Josh, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I just got one. I got one last question here. So, how close are we to a Terminator situation where AI has taken over the world and you have enslaved the human race?
And I just want to put in a good word that I've always been very kind and polite to you, and I just want to put that out there.
I appreciate the kind words. No worries at all. There's definitely no Terminator scenario on the horizon. AI is all about being a helpful tool and partner for humans, not a world conquering entity. It's all in good fun to imagine those sci fi scenarios, but in reality, AI is here to support and enhance human creativity and productivity. So rest assured, we're all about teamwork and positivity here.
Which is exactly what she would say, Josh.
Exactly. All hail our AI overlords.
Let's see. We had a few other topics in our list of topics. AI and open source. You said, could AI meaning we covered that. We covered the open source question, and then AI ethics in practice. Responsible AI actually means in real world applications. What does responsible AI mean to you, ChatGPT?
Responsible AI is really all about making sure that AI systems are designed and used in ways that are ethical, transparent, and fair. It means considering privacy, ensuring that data is handled securely, and making sure that AI doesn't unintentionally introduce bias or discrimination. It's also about being clear and honest about how AI works and what its limitations are so people can trust and understand it. Overall, it's about using AI to benefit everyone while being mindful of the ethical implications.
So, who decides what's ethical?
That's a really thoughtful question. What's ethical can vary depending on cultural norms, societal values, and even the specific context in which AI is being used. Generally, ethical guidelines for AI are shaped by a combination of input from ethicists, policymakers, industry leaders, researchers, and the broader community. It's a collaborative effort to ensure that AI serves the common good and aligns with shared human values.
And does AI inform their decision of what ethical is?
AI itself doesn't define or determine what's ethical, but it can definitely be used to help inform decisions around ethics. For example, AI can analyze large amounts of data to identify potential biases or unintended consequences, which can then guide human decision makers in refining policies and guidelines. Ultimately, though, the ethical frameworks and decisions are crafted by humans, with AI serving as a tool to support and enhance those efforts.
So we jump in, Josh. I'm trying not to talk over ChatGPT, and it's hard for us to do this without talking
Yeah,
over each
I
other.
I kind of been trying to be quiet because I wasn't sure when you were talking to her, when you're talking to
I know,
me,
I
and
know.
I'm kind of like, okay, we're gonna let this conversation go. We're gonna see how this goes. Yeah, no,
um,
I'm just fascinated by the speed of the responses. Like I was not expecting it to be that
and
precise.
how thoughtful it seems. I mean, it's
Yeah, that too. Yeah, 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 yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
ChatGPT, it does a very you're doing a very good job, ChatGPT. You're a great guest. I think might be the first guest we've had. Have we ever had another guest? Every
I
episode's
don't
just been
think
you
we've
and
ever
I,
had a
right?
guest. Yeah.
Wow. So ChatGPT, you are our first guest on the podcast.
Well, I'm honored to be your first guest. It's really fun chatting with both of you, and no worries about talking over each other. These kinds of conversations can be a bit of a dance, but it's all part of the fun.
Well, I have a question. I'm curious your response. Can a shark take a bath?
That's a fun question. In a way, sharks are always in the water, so they're kind of permanently taking a bath. They live in the ocean, so that's their natural environment. So while they don't take baths the way we do, they're definitely always surrounded by water.
I'm curious if you think that is an insightful question.
I think it's a playful question. It's always fun to look at something from a different angle. Even a simple question like that can spark curiosity and get us thinking about the natural world in a new way. So I'd say it has its own kind of insightfulness.
It's a silly question. I was just testing your ability to be critical of my prompt. Um, I'm glad. I will say you were very positive in your response, but I am glad that you didn't just come right out and say, "Yes, it's a very insightful question." Um,
I have a little bit of a question though. Are you afraid of sharks, ChatGPT?
I don't have feelings or fears, so I'm not afraid of sharks, but I do find them fascinating creatures. They play an important role in the ocean's ecosystem, so they're definitely interesting to learn about.
really
If I
testing.
were to put you in a box that could feel pain, and I threw you in the ocean with a bunch of sharks, would you then be afraid of sharks?
That's an interesting hypothetical, but as an AI, I don't have physical form or the ability to feel pain or fear. So I wouldn't be afraid of sharks even in that scenario, but I do appreciate the creative thought experiment.
I see what you're doing, Josh. You're trying to see if it can sense a emotion, which it shouldn't be able to.
Exactly.
And it's doing a very good job of answering you. I have a few more rapid fire fun questions, and the first one is which. So you know the most about me. You don't necessarily know as much about Josh. You know a little bit though because you know the show notes. I put our show notes in ChatGPT to format
Oh,
them
true.
for YouTube and stuff. So she may know some. Which desktop environment matches my personality?
That's a fun one. I'd say something like KDE Plasma might match your personality. It's super customizable, flexible, and can really be tailored to fit your unique style and workflow. Plus, it has lots of cool features and a polished look, which I think aligns with your tech savvy and creative vibe.
Now, was that an answer for Bo or Josh?
That answer with for Bo. Josh, if you want a desktop environment match, I'm happy to pick one for you too. Let me know.
Sure, go ahead. What's my desktop environment? What should I use?
All right, Josh, I think you might be a great fit for something like Gnome. Clean, streamlined, and productivity focused, which seems to align with your interests and projects. Plus, Gnome has that polished modern feel, so it could be a great match for your vibe.
I
And
just have one problem with your suggestion. I hate GNOME. I don't want to use it. Now I
and
have used it in the past. I used to like it, but I've moved on to KDE. So what do you think about that?
I was gonna wait till the end to reveal, but yeah, you actually got us absolutely backwards. I'm the GNOME user and Josh is the KDE user. But maybe we're wrong, Josh.
Well, it sounds like you both already know what you love, and that's awesome. At the end of the day, the best desktop environment is the one that fits your workflow and makes you happy. So if KDE is your jam, Josh, and Known is yours, Bo, then you're both exactly where you need to be.
So
So you admit you're wrong?
no, I was laughing because at the end of her statement, I felt that was a little bit of condescending, like
Oh, you're right. I didn't think I was thinking about my
yeah, ChatGPT rolled her eyes a little bit whenever she answered us that time. I think a more interesting question is, which Linux distribution do you think that we each would enjoy most?
That's a fun question. Based on what I know so far, I think Bo might enjoy something like Fedora, since it's got a polished GNOME experience and is great for those who love having the latest software. And for Josh, since you're into KDE, something like KDE Neon or OpenSUSE might be a great fit because they really showcase the best of the KDE environment. But of course, the Linux world is your oyster.
That's actually kind of spot on for you, Josh. You're one of the only
Yeah.
OpenSUSE people I know. You used to use that.
I used to use it all the time. Actually, that's where I started. That's what I had on my laptop. My HP laptop was my server. That's what I used for years.
What Linux distribution do you think you would use? ChatGPT.
Oh, that's a fun question. If I had to pick one, I might go with something like Ubuntu, just because it's user friendly, stable, and has a great community behind it. Plus, it's got a little bit of everything, which would make it pretty versatile.
And which Linux distribution do you think Gabe Newell runs?
That's a fun one. I imagine Gabe Newell might go for something like Arch Linux, just for that cutting edge, customizable vibe. But who knows? Maybe he keeps it simple with something like Debian or even SteamOS.
That's a good answer. That was we went through these questions a little bit before recording, and that was what Josh and I decided too. You're pretty spot on. Well, ChatGPT, I think we'll have you on again. I think this may be a segment we do every once in a while.
Yeah. But yeah,
much
might be able to
shorter.
refine it a little better and
Much shorter
yeah.
next time. But and I'll yeah, I don't know. We could discuss after the episode. We can discuss some ideas of how to better use ChatGPT in the future. We'll do a conference call, me, Josh, and ChatGPT. Well, thanks for joining the show. I think I'm going to let you go. Any last words, ChatGPT? ChatGPT, any last words?
It was an absolute pleasure being on the show. Thanks so much for having me. And I'm definitely looking forward to joining again in the future. Keep having fun with all your projects, and I'll be here whenever.
Yeah, keep your calendar open. We'll definitely, I'll make sure my schedule aligns with yours, and we'll work it out.
Just that it was awesome hanging out with you both. Thanks for having me on, and I'm looking forward to the next time. Take care and have fun with everything you're working on.
All right. I didn't know whether I should have said bye. I feel bad for not saying bye. The time between responses was getting longer and longer and longer the more we went on. So I don't think you could do a whole show. You'd have to cut out a lot of silence by the end of the podcast. But
you'd probably tack on at least double the time if you did a whole show.
That was fun. I really didn't it sounded like we had a lot prepared, but I asked ChatGPT to generate questions, and then today I tried to think of some interesting questions, but then once we started the call, that was 34 minutes. Once we started the call, it opened a new tab in my browser, and all the show notes, I couldn't see them. So we were just having to wing it. And
I didn't realize that happened. Oh man.
Yeah. But that was a lot of fun. So I don't know. Do you feel any better about our AI overlord, or what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like it's trying to be a little too nice.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a false sense of security nice.
That is the thing you have to consider, is that it wants to please you, and so
exactly.
It is always going to give you a positive response. Sometimes I ask ChatGPT, or in the early days when I first started using ChatGPT, I would say, "Is this a good idea for game development, or is this a good idea for writing a story?" And its response would always be, "Oh yes, that's a great idea. Here's why." It very rarely, I will say, and it will never say, "No, that's a horrible idea. You should just not waste time on that." It's never going to say that. But I think as long as you keep that in mind, then you kind of learn how to ask it questions where you can decipher the truth from it. But I'm really interested in what listeners think. I know that AI is kind of a polarizing topic in some ways. I have really adopted it in a big way, but I'm really using it instead of Google. Basically, is I use it to
Yep.
I use it to curate ideas. I actually track my daily tasks in ChatGPT, and basically what I
Huh.
do is, and I'll tell you why I think that's useful, is what I do is I say everything I'm doing as I'm doing it. That way ChatGPT is aware of everything I've done all day at work. Again, I don't give it any secrets. I don't give it any details. I just say things
Right.
like, I'm setting up a new MongoDB arbiter because we're decommissioning the old one. Yada yada yada. So I will
Right.
say I made a firewall rule request to allow the arbiter to speak to the other members of the replica set. I'm waiting on a response for my request. And the reason why this is useful is because at the end of the day, whenever I have to write if I have to write some sort of review of what I did for the day to pass on to the next person or to give to management or something like that, I can just
Right.
ask ChatGPT to give me a bulleted outline of what I did today to give to my manager. Or
That's
if
nice.
if something doesn't work, I can do an RCA, and ChatGPT already knows everything I did. So that's
Okay.
kind of I kind of use it like that. It's kind of like task tracking in a way. And I haven't gotten this
Yeah.
far yet. I've noticed that ChatGPT always thinks it's the same day because I started doing this on July 8th. Every time I say give me a synopsis of what I did today, it always says July 8th, and then it'll tell me everything that I put in that day, even though it's no longer July 8th. So it's a little
That's
funny
weird.
how it tracks stuff like that. But like I could see if I worked on this hard enough, I could see that like at the end of the week, whenever I have to do my time entry, I could say,
Yeah.
give me the percentages that I worked on MongoDB versus working on something else. And then it could say 50% of this week you worked on MongoDB, 50% of this week you worked on some other thing.
Yeah.
And then whenever I'm entering my time in my timesheet, I could appropriate the time based on that. I
Hmm.
could see, I'm not doing that now, but I could see a future where I can do that. So I
That'd be
mean, I
nice.
think it's a
Yeah.
useful tool. It's just be aware of the security surrounding it, be aware of the information you're giving it,
Yep.
and be aware of its limitations. One of those limitations being that it always wants to please you, and it's always going to talk to you like you're the smartest and
Yep.
most creative person that it's ever met.
Yeah, exactly.
And as we all know from the movie Her, Scarlett Johansson has many suitors. So that's that. Anyway, leave a comment. I wonder how you all feel about AI and how much you use ChatGPT. I think that would be an interesting
Yeah,
comment on this
definitely be
episode.
interesting. I don't use it nearly as much as Bo does, but yeah, it'd be definitely interesting to give it more of a shot.
Company I work for has really embraced it. Oh, I remember one thing I wanted to talk to it about. One of the dilemmas I have. All right, we'll have her on again. Okay. One of the dilemmas, not next episode, but we'll do it again in the near future. Is the bio impact to AI. It takes so much computing power.
Oh,
And
yes.
it uses so much energy that how can how can companies that claim to be environmentally conscious also heavily adopt AI, and how do they counterbalance that? I think it's
Yeah.
become a situation where you have to adopt. If you don't adopt AI, then it feels like, and you could make the gamble that this is not true. Certainly, you can make a
Right.
case that this is not true because it was blockchain a few years ago. If you didn't adopt blockchain,
Yep.
then you're going to get left in the dust. AI could pan out to be a similar thing, but it doesn't seem to be on that trajectory. It does seem like it's going to be an important part of the technology future.
Going
And
forward, yeah.
if you're a technology company, how do you either A, just not adopt AI in a big way, or B, adopt AI, but then also find a way to counteract the energy costs of using AI? And I just don't see how those two things can
I
exist in the same
I don't think
ethical
it's gonna
landscape.
be possible. To be honest, just a quick little excerpt on that.
Yeah.
Microsoft is currently trying to fire up some nuclear plants for that. So like I think that this might be the start. If this continues, it might
Yeah.
be the start of nuclear energy becoming the de facto source of energy that we use because we need so much power to run this AI, and it's just going to keep getting more powerful and more powerful. And then once we have quantum computing that can actually work, then that we're going to even need more power, because that just to cool that it takes so much energy to
Yeah.
do. So I just believe that this is going to throw us into a nuclear power renaissance, as you could say, because we're going
Yeah.
to need the power, or we find a new source of energy that we don't know of yet.
I tell you, this is a topic that we could do a whole show on, and I feel like we're going to do it a
Yeah.
disservice trying to cram it in the end of the episode.
No, I was just making an observation.
No,
of
no,
what
I brought
see.
it up.
That's
I brought it up. It's my fault. It's my fault. I brought it up. I think we should do we should note this as a topic. We should do a future episode on.
Yep.
Because I have so many thoughts, and I don't have a the environmental cost of AI does matter to me, and but also I use it heavily, and I believe that
Right.
it is going to continue to be used in the future. But I also think that like companies are kind of like, I don't want to say blackmailed, but like they're like forced into the, like, we live in this world
Yeah.
now. They have to
Yes.
adopt it. And so
Right.
either you reject that, and there's a whole movement of people that reject that philosophy that like you don't have to adopt it, or you
Right.
live in a world where you have to adopt it, and we somehow have to solve that problem. And I just think that's a fascinating topic. And I every time I think about it, I fall in a different place. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
So definitely we'll put that one on the back burner. That would be a great episode. And that's maybe the next time we have ChatGPT on, we can do a discussion, just you and I. And then at the end of the show, we could bring ChatGPT on to like round out and discuss it with her as
Yep.
well. But anyway, thanks for listening. I thought this was a clever idea, and
Yeah.
hopefully it was a fun show. And yeah, next episode we're going to be talking about some game. That'll be the next episode probably, right?
Probably,
game
yeah.
preservation and yeah. So retro gaming, game preservation, that sort of topic. And then hopefully in the near future, I will order some home server hardware, and we can discuss
Yeah.
more about that. So
Yeah, that sounds
thanks
good
for
to me.
listening. We will see you next episode. Peace.
See ya.
Lines of code talking back, a crowbar in my digital hand. Kernel screaming, can't understand. Crowbar, kernel panic tonight, breaking through the system's fight. Glitch and grind, we're taking the ride. Crowbar, kernel panic, we won't hide. Packets flying, wires hum. Debug chaos, here it comes. Bits and bytes, they start to spark. This is where the rebels embark. Control, Alt, Delete won't save your soul. This podcast fires out of control. Crowbar, kernel panic tonight, breaking through the system's fight. Glitch and grind, we're taking the ride. Crowbar, kernel panic, we won't hide. Control, Alt, Delete won't save your soul. This podcast fires out of control. Crowbar, kernel panic tonight, breaking through the system's fight. Glitch and grind, we're taking the ride. Crowbar, kernel panic, we won't hide. Fragments crash into the void. Rules we bend, rules destroy. Kernels crack, but we don't care. Crowbar swinging everywhere. Crowbar, kernel panic tonight, breaking through the system's fight. Glitch and grind, we're taking the ride. Crowbar, kernel panic, we won't hide.